Everyone. Thank you so much for coming to Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON temple. It's a very special place. Srila Prabhupada has built, like he said himself, he built the house in which the whole world can live. And so we are part of that, coming home. I especially feel that when I travel to many places, I always feel like home in the temple because it's all familiar. It's Srila Prabhupada's special, actually it's the Lord's special mercy, where he has sent Srila Prabhupada to give people the opportunity to join Krishna's family. And this is very significant because we don't just come to the temple of this island. We don't come to the temple like to a church, where you come and you have a very distant relationship with God. God is someone there. He's almighty and he's punishing the sins, and he's giving the rewards for my pious deeds. But actually, this is an invitation to join Krishna's family, to be one of his friends, one of his maybe girlfriends, lover. Okay, I hear some giggles. Yes, why not? To be servant of Krishna, also obviously. To be someone in a superior position to Krishna, like a mood of a mother or a father, but not a mother or a father, but a mood like being superior. Like Krishna is a little boy, and you tell him, "Hey, naughty boy, what have you done?" Very interesting that God can be in a position like that. But anyway, we'll talk about this more, hopefully. So I am very, I guess, sad and also honored, and also I feel great responsibility. So I also pray to my spiritual master, of course. He's going to be Krishna Goswami Maharaj and senior devotees and godbrothers, etc. That please let this be some benefit to all of us. And of course, I was coming here to hear from my spiritual master, but somehow or other, he cancelled. The trip was cancelled for whatever reason. But we were still encouraged by local devotees to come. So thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll start. Anyone here for the first time? Just so I know. First time like in ISKCON temple, or first time for Sunday feast, or first time ever to this sort of event? First time ever? Oh, very good. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Are you? Also first time. I saw you yesterday. You're cheating. All right, well, your first time too. Okay. First time also. First time here in Finland, ISKCON. Yeah? Oh, very good.
I'm also first time.
First time here. Very nice. And you too. Yeah. Very good. Thank you so much for coming. Hopefully we'll see you again and again in Finland or any other place. There's always nice discussions going on, nice musical, not performances, but I guess offerings of our devotion through music to the Lord. And of course, there is a wonderful offering of the feast that is being cooked and then offered with love to Krishna. And then we can all have the remnants, or what we call prasad, the mercy of the Lord. And by taking that sanctified food, we all make spiritual progress. Not only filling the belly, but you also fill. It is said, our spiritual leaders, they say that actually there's almost no hunger in this world, no hunger of the belly, but there is the hunger of the soul, and the hunger of the soul is like a black hole. It's so deep, and you cannot fill it. The black hole cannot be filled with any of the material substances. Whatever material you put in that black hole, it disappears. Yeah, we all know that. But one thing can fill, and that is because that big hole is actually our separation from Krishna or God or with our real identity, etc. We're just completely like lost children in this world, and only by that relationship, by that loving relationship, can we feel that huge, insurmountable. Um, so it seems whole. All right, we'll start by singing Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Shri Prabhupada ki Shri Guru Parampara ki Jai, Shri Panchatattva ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Shri Nathak Dham ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanande. Which verse again? Adi-Lila 773.
Luetko olemaan englanniksi, jos joku tarvitsee suomenkielisen käännöksen, se tulee tapahtumaan täällä puheessa.
Translation.
Adi-Lila 773.
Adi-Lila 773. So today we will read from a very special scripture. It's called Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita. So it is very advanced, actually, spiritual literature. But we will just touch upon the beginning of it, of course, and we'll talk about Chaitanya Holy. So I don't know if anyone will follow the verse, but I'll read. So this literature is compiled by or written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, based on diaries and diaries of Swarup Damodar, who was a personal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you see him on the altar, he's on the right. So on the altar we have Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the right and Sri Nityananda Prabhu on the left. And behind you on the wall, you can see there's different depictions. Like Srila Prabhupada said, those are windows into the spiritual world. So we can see next weekend on Sunday, there will be Ratha Yatra, Mahamahotsava here in Helsinki. So here is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing in front of the Lord Jagannath's cart, and of course chanting the holy names. And Sri Nityananda Prabhu is in blue, is helping him out to go higher and higher in his spiritual ecstasy. And then there's Panchatattva here, also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing and singing with his associates. Here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting and dancing in the forest, in the jungle of Jarikanda, and actually making all the animals also chant and dance. So, and there you can see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his very special form, and it's called Sadbhuj form. This is the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that has 6 arms. So you can see the 2 arms that go down that have the kamandalu, and I guess it's a danda. This is the attributes of a sannyasi. So this is actually the attributes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Then you can see the 2 arms in the ear. He's holding the bow and the arrow. This is who? Huh? Lord Ramchandra, Haribo. And of course he has the flute, and that's the hands of Shri Krishna. Jai, exam passed, you're qualified. Very good. And then we have a very special picture that is actually identifying. So this picture, this depiction, that Sadbhuj form, is a very special form because here Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing his identity. And his identity is none other than Krishna and Ram. He is the Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of God. The next picture is more intimate. It's a very intimate picture because it describes who actually Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really is. And so he is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. There's no difference between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna combined. So this is a very special form of Krishna that comes in the mood, or who comes in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So he is also called by Srila Rupa Goswami Namo Mahavadanya or Mahavadanya, because he came to this age of Kali. He's predicted in the Shastras that he will come, and he's called Chana Avatar, because we know that those who study the Vedic literatures, they know that Krishna or Vishnu is called Triyuga Avatar, because he is usually described in the Shastra that he comes in the Satya Yuga, he comes in Treta Yuga, and he comes in Dvapara Yuga. Doesn't say anything about Kali Yuga. Why? Because in Kali Yuga, Krishna comes not as God, he comes as his own devotee. So that's why it's called Chana Avatar, means hidden avatar. And so next picture is actually a picture that we will kind of talk about. This is the conversation that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had with the Mayavadi sannyasis, who were headed by Prakashananda Saraswati. So in that particular, I'll just give you a brief history so you understand what's happening here. So in that conversation, what happened is that there are people who are also transcendentalists. They are reaching out. Transcendental means reaching out beyond the material. Okay, so material universe is consisting of basically fire, water, air, ether, and what's it? Fire, water, and earth, and mind, false ego, mind, intelligence, and false ego. So there's 8 elements. So the 8 elements, they basically make up the whole material creation. And then if you want to be more specific, then there's Pradhan, and from Pradhan, when the time kicks in, then it starts stirring everything, and everything comes into motion. Big Bang, basically. You can call it a Big Bang, but beyond the Big Bang, what scientists don't know, that beyond Big Bang is Krishna and the spiritual world, etc. Anyway, so this is some sort of background. And so Mayavadis, they're a group of people that are actually us, sorry to say, but this is mostly the people of this world. Those who believe in something beyond this world, they're mostly Mayavadis, because they believe that I'm part of everything. I'm also a little bit, I'm God, and so many different ideas that are basically, it's simply speaking, impersonal. That means basically that after I or anyone dies, there is no more personality. I just mix in with something. I mix with the whole creation and I become part of this kitchen or soup. Depends where you come from. So I become part of of this soup, and I'm part of this soup, and I don't have a personality. So and these people, the scholarly people of this mentality, sannyasis, for example, Mayavadi sannyasis, they study the Vedanta. Vedanta means, Veda means knowledge, and Anta means the end or conclusive knowledge. So basically it means conclusive knowledge. So they study Vedanta. Now, in order to study Vedanta, it is a very difficult process. Because Vedanta, the Veda was basically came as one Veda, and then as ages degenerated into Kali Yuga, then Veda Vyas divided. That's why he's called Vyas, means to divide. Right? So he divided the one Veda into four Vedas. Atharva, Rig, Sama, and Yajur Vedas. So he divided those into four Vedas, and for people to more easily understand, but also understand on different, because he understood that people cannot have a complete picture anymore. So he had different acharyas for different Vedas, and they were studying that particular Veda in depth. So that's the idea. And then those Vedas were also subdivided into so many different subcategories and Itihasas and Upanishads, and there's 180 Upanishads, and so many different things. So the knowledge is breaking down. So basically, there is no one able nowadays to study the Vedanta completely and actually come to a complete conclusion. So, but this is what this Mayavadis, they're thinking, okay, so we have to study the Vedanta. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is God himself, okay? So, and he comes and he is seen to jubilantly dance and chant this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these Mayavadi sannyasis, they were criticizing him. They were saying, what's this young sannyasi doing? He's hanging out with some sentimental people who just like dancing and singing, and he's supposed to study the Vedanta. What is this? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't really want to associate with them too much because, you all know, you don't want to be, in a group of people that are not thinking so well of you. It's natural. So in the same way, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also didn't want. But by the mercy of the other devotees, they wanted to help those Mayavadi sannyasis. They wanted them to actually associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reveal, to basically change their hearts. Let's put it this way. So then they arranged a meeting where all the sannyasis came together. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as you can see in this picture, he came, and usually at the entrance of a meeting place like here, we leave our shoes outside. Yeah? So in the Vedic culture, it's the same thing. Also, they enter the house, but there's also a place where everybody washes their feet also. So when we come, we don't just take our shoes off and walk in, but we take our shoes off, we also wash our feet, and then we come in. And that's considered to be a very low kind of place, right? Dirty place, let's put it this way. So it's a dirty place where everybody washes their feet. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he sat down there, right? And all the other sannyasis, they were sitting nicely here. They were quite proud of their position, etc. And then they saw that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting there. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at some point, he exhibited this effulgence. You can see that he's very effulgent in this picture. And Mayavadis, they're very attracted by the effulgence. And this effulgence is actually, you can say, it's a spiritual sky itself. So it's called Brahmajyoti, for those who don't know, not familiar with the term, but Brahmajyoti means this light that is actually emanating from God himself, from his body, but that light is so vast spread that it's actually covering the whole spiritual sky. But in that spiritual sky, there is kind of no activity. It's actually what another word for Mayavada is Shunyavada, means zero. If you want, there's a really simple way to understand it. And Srila Prabhupada, Shunyavadi Pashtatya Deshatarana. He came to actually eradicate this zero-ness and wrong mentality from the Western world. That's us, yeah. Thank you. So, Prabhupada. So, so we have zero. Zero means what? Zero means that there is also minus and there is also a plus, right? That's normal mathematical scale. So what's below the zero is material world. That's us again. Hello everybody. So we are in a minus. We're in the minus. Minus means we are constantly troubled by the modes of material nature, by threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are miseries from your own mind and body. Anybody experiences that, or I'm alone? Sometimes you have some, issues with your body. You get old. I have pain now in my joints. Also getting older. What to do? And other things. Also mentally, you're thinking, what are they thinking about me now? They're all looking at me. Do they like the way I speak or do they not? I don't know. So it can be also disturbance. And then there's problems from other living entities like mosquitoes. All this biting, living entities, or just us, good old, neighbors and country fellows, or from other countries or whatever, we're disturbing each other. And then the third one is the natural disasters. The ones that people are they don't have any hand in it. Like hurricanes and volcanic eruptions and floods and cold and heat, from the sun, and so many different things. So those are the threefold miseries. And this world is called, in the Vedic terms, it's called kunta. Kunta means suffering. Yeah. And spiritual world is generally called Vaikuntha, means no suffering. Right? So this place, this effulgence that Mayavadis are trying to reach at, it's basically a zero in the sense that there is no misery. And usually we perceive happiness as what? The absence of misery, right? We're thinking, oh, nobody's bothering me. The weather is just perfect. It's not hot, not cold. I don't have any bills to pay. I don't have to go to work. I'm just sitting here and it's like, okay, nobody's disturbing me. Peace of mind, right? Like this, no bills to pay. It's utopia, right? Nobody can relate to that because it's really, it's almost impossible in this world. But this is what basically this Shunyavada, this zero-ness, this Brahmajyoti is. Basically in a state of nothing is happening. And therefore you're experiencing some sort of enjoyment from that. But I've got news for you, and Shastra has news for all of us, is that the living entity is Ananda Maya Vyasat. It is always seeking pleasure. And that means it is always active. It's acting. It wants some action, right? It cannot just sit still for a very long time. So what happens is that generally Mayavadis, once they achieve that transcendental position of being in that Brahmajyoti, in that light, they spend long time there. It's a very long time. It's not like they go there for a holiday for 10 days and then they come back. It's like millions and millions of years. They can spend there. But eventually, because the soul is always seeking pleasure and seeking action, and most importantly, it's seeking loving relationships, reciprocation. That's the most important thing. That's why we have families, we have friends, etc., etc. Like this. We would just, only a few people become yogis in the Himalayas, and I have seen those yogis in Himalayas on videos. They're very happy to see other people. They go immediately, wow, okay, finally, someone has come. That means that we can be like this for some time. Yes, very austere, very dedicated, etc. But it's only for some time. So then these people, what happens to them, because this mentality of I want to do something, and because they're in the zero, if they don't have the understanding of the plus, if they don't have the knowledge, if they don't have the realization that there is plus, they don't have any other option but to go back into the minus. So this is the position of the Shunyavadis, Mayavadis, Brahmavadis, etc. They fall down back to material world, and so their position is not eternal. it's temporary because of this nature, because of the nature of the soul to seek loving relationships. Now, plus is spiritual world, also spiritual world, but it's relationship with God. And that, of course, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so many different, incarnations, avatars, manifestations. And that is actually not just me and God are sitting there for eternity, looking at each other, thinking what to do, or to try everything, what's next. No, there are actually, it's described that the spiritual world is 3 times bigger than, it's just described like this. It's not exactly like that but it's 3 times bigger than material world. It's just a description. So actually, those who are devotees and those who are a little bit maybe shy, don't be shy because we are not the minority. It's the people who are not trying to be in connection with God. They are the minority. Just like in every country or maybe even every city more or less, there is a jail, right? And jail is only a small portion of population goes to jail. It's not like everybody is in jail. But if you're in jail for too long, then you're thinking the jail is basically the whole world. It's like, okay, so I'm here. So this is exactly what's happening with us also. We're in jail in the material world, and we kind of been here for so long that we forgot that there is actually outside of jail, and there are nice things happening. So this is the brief understanding of what the Mayavadis are, and so we are trying to develop we've been given an opportunity to develop personal relationship with God and actually go into the plus, where there are eternally activities in a loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of God and all of His associates also. It's not like there's just, as I said, God and me, and there are so many living entities, right? And we're all reciprocating with each other and with God. So it's all for His pleasure, more or less. So here we are. Then, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited this effulgence, and Mayavadis being attracted by this effulgence, they immediately came and they asked him to please, why are you sitting here in this dirty place? Please come and sit amongst us. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very humbly, he said that I'm not fit to sit with you. You're all very elevated. You're all studying Vedanta, etc. And then Prakashananda Saraswati, he was saying, yes, we're studying Vedanta, and we were wondering, why are you not doing the same? Why are you just like a sentimentalist? You're chanting and chanting this mantra, and you're dancing like a madman. And what's it all about, basically? So then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he starts revealing his mentality to them. So I'll just read a little bit of a conversation, and then we will also read a little bit of a purport by Srila Prabhupada to one of the verses here. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, my dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me. And we just mentioned why he considered him a fool, because to study the Vedas is basically impossible in this day and age, right? So he said, you're a fool, you cannot do this. And so he chastised him. So his spiritual master, he said, you're a fool, he said. You're not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy. And therefore, you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is, listen, the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. Right? So you have all the Vedanta philosophy, and all the Vedanta philosophy basically, after studying the whole Vedanta, the actual Vedanta, the end of it, is chanting the holy name of the Lord and being in association of the Lord. So here you go. You all know now the conclusion of the Vedas. Congratulations. So the next verse, he says, simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. So that's basically the gist of the conversation. I'm not going to read the whole conversation, but the whole conversation is basically talking about the importance of chanting the holy name. So now we will read the purport. It's quite a long purport. How much time do we have, Gopinath, actually?
Until basically 1:30.
Really?
It's very short.
All right. Okay, so we're not gonna read the whole purpose, or
But maybe you can take 5 minutes longer.
yeah, okay, just 35 minutes. All right, sorry, I thought there was like we're on eternal time, you know. All right, so that's basically, but that's what it is. So that's the main message, of course. The main message is that by chanting the holy name, we are in association. We come immediately in association of the Lord, because the holy name is non-different from Krishna himself. So the name Krishna, spiritually, is non-different from the word Krishna, spiritually. Because the word, of course, we can understand, okay, we have the brain and we have particular faculties of the brain that are responsible for our vocabulary, our ability to, to manipulate the muscles and the vocal cords so that the sound comes out, right? You will agree with that? And so recently, just in our temple in Riga, we had for me, it's a miracle. I don't know if you will take it lightly or not, but we had a case of what you call that? When you have brain clot? Stroke. Yes, thank you. Sorry, it just came out of my head because you were there for class. So stroke. We had a case of a stroke, and one lady devotee who was practicing for quite some time, she had a stroke. And so her son told me that when he went to the hospital to see her, she was not able to speak. She could not speak anything. She could not say anything. There was nothing. She basically lost her ability to speak for one or the other reason. Of course, now she's practicing with like ABCs and all these different, kids basically going back to school, more or less, to recover her speech. But what was the most amazing was that she was able to say the whole Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So she was able to say the whole Maha Mantra without any ability to speak. To me, of course, for her son, that means that the holy name itself is not material. Because materially speaking, she lost her ability to speak. She could not speak anything material. So she cannot pronounce any sounds or anything. But the holy name is spiritual. So this is this is really amazing. This is amazing also because we are all special news in the last 5 minutes for you. Is that one? Okay, maybe I will have a little quiz to enlighten us all, to enliven us all, and that is, what is the 100% thing that we can be sure of that is going to happen? Oh yes, we're very positive people here. We're all going to die. Yeah, thank you. That was a good answer. So actually, yes, we're all going to die. That's for sure, right? One way or the other. Be it, guys pressing the buttons or, some, whatever, or disease or just old age. Good old age will also do its job. Time is ticking away, for everyone. So what does it mean? It means that we're coming, everyone is going to come to an end of, this life, of everything that you can identify with. That you're a man, woman, old, young, brown, black, white, yellow. Doesn't matter that you have children, no children, they have this salary or this bank balance or this car, that car, this house, this animals, this pets, this gadgets. Anything that you're part of this country or you're part of that country, that you have this political leader or that political leader, it doesn't matter. It will all come to an end. But the mind is material if we're not spiritualizing our mind. And the mind at the time of death, it will try to grab on something. Like Prabhupada tells a funny story about one man who was, well, it's not a funny story, but it's a story about a rich man who was dying, and the doctor said, you have like few weeks to live. And he said, no, please, I'll give you any money. I still have 4-year plan, I still need to finish all my things, No, the time of death is coming, that's it. We don't know when it's happening. Someone asked Prabhupada, you're so old, and he asked that young reporter lady, he said, how do you know that I'm not younger than you, or you're not older than me? Meaning that, how do you know that I'm going to die before you? Or how do you know that you're not going to die before me? We don't know. Anyone really don't know. And at the time of death, the mind will try to grab to the things that it really finds shelter in. That's what's going to happen. So for this man who was dying, it was the doctors. I have all the money. I'll give you any money. Please save me. For someone else, it may be, mama, whatever it may be. But it was actually very serious. So our practice of this chanting the holy name as much as possible during this life is to actually spiritualize our mind to grab onto Krishna or God, wherever you come from, Allah, Jehovah, whatever, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramchandra, Shri Krishna, you grab onto them. And by this process of chanting the holy name, your mind gets spiritualized, and then at the time of death, you will go towards spirituality. I have a friend who was hit by a car at the pedestrian crossing at the speed of 136 kilometers an hour by a car. He ended up in the hospital, of course, and he was basically dead for quite some time. And he said that in his death time, he ended up in some place where there were amazing personalities. They were very effulgent. The place was really, incredible, pleasant place to be in. And he was shown 4 directions. And in each direction, he was shown, okay, you go this way, you will be a really rich guy, you will have a wonderful life, etc. And he was like really attracted to them. Then next one, he was like, okay, here you will be very famous. You will be the most famous person and everybody's going to love you. And he was thinking, wow, this is really nice. And so like this, he had 4 choices of really fantastic lifestyles, but they were all material. And at some point he said, I remember Bhakti Swami, I remember Srila Prabhupada, and then he said, hey, wait a minute, guys. And he was practicing for a short period of time at that point. And he said, wait a minute, I was chanting Hare Krishna. I was associating with devotees. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to choose any of these 4. I'm supposed to go further. And then what was more amazing that Srila Prabhupada appeared himself. He said the whole picture, this whole scene kind of froze, and then Srila Prabhupada appeared. And Srila Prabhupada told him that yes, you were practicing, and this is of course already instruction for those who are practicing, to practice more sincerely and deeply, is that, okay, you were practicing, but you were practicing for yourself. You were still in the center. Because what can happen is that, like it was said here, that the holy name can give you freedom from material existence. And that would be your reason to chant the holy name. You'll be thinking, okay, I'm suffering so much, and this is good reason. Don't take it as don't do it. You do it. If you're suffering, the best thing is to call out to Krishna. But still, there is better way. So Srila Prabhupada told him that you were practicing for yourself. Now you go back and you develop real compassion for everybody. And now this is the call to share this with everyone you meet, is that once you develop this, we understand, you have this faith, you understand what it is all about. You can see, yesterday we were at the train station chanting the holy name along with the Prasadam distribution, Food for Life program, and it was the day, we all know it was the day of Pride Parade, right, in Helsinki. So there were lots of people going by, and I realized I had a t-shirt, just like now I have a t-shirt Kirtan, I had a t-shirt that was saying soul. And I was thinking, yes, this is actually the solution to all of their problems. And not just their problems, but everybody, to realize that we're not this body. Yeah, because I'm not the transgender, I'm not gay, I'm not lesbian, I'm not heterosexual, I'm not this, I'm not that. I am actually the spirit soul. And once we have that realization that we're all spirit soul, we have real union. Everybody, not just even human beings, but all the plants and animals, and then we can live in real unity. This is the spiritual mentality. Right? Material mentality is we divide, we conquer, etc. We abuse and use, etc. But spiritual mentality means we are actually all equal. We're all spirit souls, and then as brothers and sisters, and with the same Father, in the same, like Srila Prabhupada built the house. It doesn't mean that he put this building down here. It means that he created this consciousness that actually involves everyone, every single living entity. And so with that consciousness, you can practice your Christianity, you can practice your Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, whatever. But the consciousness, Sanatan Dharma, means that we all understand that we are all spirit souls. And then we all can come together like this. So this all comes from chanting the holy name and trying to develop our relationship with Krishna. And the more we chant, the more sincerely we chant, the more we try and share this with others, the more our heart gets purified, the more we get attracted to Krishna, the more we get attracted to spiritual world. And at the time of death, Antakala Chamam Eva, at the end of your life, if you think of me, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you will come to me. Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.
You can ask for questions.
Any questions?
Until the Pujari comes.
Yeah. Any questions? Maybe one question. Pujari is coming, but question is there. Okay.
So Krishna gives strength to tolerate threefold miseries.
Yes, correct. And also not just the strength, but he gives us an opportunity to finish with all the threefold miseries. Yeah. Because we can tolerate, but if we don't go back to Krishna, then we can tolerate eternally also. So the idea is we should want to go back to our home, our spiritual home, where we can be eternally in the presence of Krishna and all of his associates, like-minded people. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Now we'll have Arati, so everyone can stand up and put the mats somewhere in the corner there. Correct? Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So short and sweet class, okay. Next time. I will ask how long I realized that.
Okay. Kadang sudah gini.
Jai